So hello and welcome back. This is the project milestone 3, the pickups, power-ups, and map generation. As you can see, we still have our purple square, but that will change momentarily. So let's get started with the playthrough. Whenever it loads. There it goes. Okay. So there's our pickup spawner, and then we have a different type of pickup here. We have our fire rate pickup. And there it goes respawning. Looks like our enemies are over here. I do have a 4x4 room. That's because I ended up making 4 tiles instead of just the 3. See, and there's the object detection. Oh, he is switched into attack. Oh, well, that's something I'll have to work on. I don't think it calls can see during flee, so we'll have to change that. But regardless, my AIs do work for the most part, and they are destroyable. Well, if they don't destroy me first, apparently. No, that's the boss. Oh, that was the boss. Okay, gotta check that out. So I do have my 4 personalities. I have an attacker, a guard, a boss, and a boss guard. The boss guards circle around the boss instead of creating their waypoints based on their spawn. The guard and the attacker, I believe, set their own waypoints based off of spawn. We are spawning in 4 enemies. We do have our, that was the map of the day, so if I run it again, we should get that same map. And there we go. So now let's turn off the map of day and set it to is random. So now, this time, no matter what the seed is, we should get a random map. Okay, and then the seed. So if we turn off is map a day and is random, we should get the same map each time. Boom, boom. Okay. We do have our player. We also have a list of all of our controllers. And then you can also tell that my camera does follow the player and is correctly scaled now. We have power-ups spawning in the yeah, that one's, oh, it saw me. Oh no. I also don't think it runs can see during the attack state, so that's something we'll have to adjust. So attack and flee need to be adjusted, but that's for later. There is no bugs, just a lot of print statements, or debug statements. So let's get into the code. I'm going to take this short pause. So it looks like the first thing that you wanted to see was the map generator, which would be our level class that exists that holds the appropriate data about the level, including the 2D array of all rooms instantiated as part of map generation. So load in. Here is our map generator. And then, okay, so our random tiles. So this is our map generation function, where we take in, or we have a list of columns and rows, which is set from that public variable on the game manager. We have our map seed, and then on our map generator prefab, we have number of rows, number of columns, room width, room height, and all of the room prefabs, which are in here. Here's our 4 rooms. We have bullet prefab, controller prefabs for each AI and player controller, pawn prefabs, our pickups. We have our spawn points, our game manager and map generator, tank spawner, our scripts. We have a rotator that rotates the pickups around their y-axis. Game manager, pickup, spawners. What is the next? I just showed that we have the array exposed, map width adjustable. Yep, I just showed all of that. Room tile class exists and holds the doors between tiles. Doors between tiles are open correctly. Explain how the code determines which doors are meant to be open. Okay. So that is in our map generator. So this is what's checking the door and what row it's in and what column it's in to make sure that only the rows on the only the rows or columns on the outside of the map are the ones that are having their doors left closed on the outside but open on the inside. And this is the function that does all of that by determining if it is in position 0 of the row, then we are going to turn off the north door. And if we are in the last row, which is rows -1, and I believe that's because the arrays start at 0, and if we did like rows -1, so we have 4. If we did just rows, that would end at 5, I believe. Like it would be position 5 would be number 4, so that's why we are counting back down 1. And then otherwise, if it's not the first or the last, then we're going to set the north and south false anyway. So this is only leaving the south door, the south door active, and then if it's in position 0, and then the north door is staying active if it is in the last row. But yeah, because the south door on this one is being turned off, and the north door on this one is being turned off. But yeah, and then the same kind of logic for the columns. If it's in the first column, then we're going to turn off the east door, and not the west door. And if we're in the last column, then we're going to turn off the west door, but not the east door. And if they're not in those columns, then we're going to shut off both of their doors, therefore making them inactive. Then we're going to initialize the panel at position of the current column and the current row, and that's going to be the temporary room that will get added into the grid, or that's where it's going to add in the temporary room to the grid array. Well, not array. What did you call it? It's not an array. It's like an array of arrays. It's a grid. Right? Is that that's what we call that? Yeah, a grid. It can be set to random level. I showed that. And then, okay, explain why this works. So, we have in our game manager, I have a lot going on in my game manager, but yeah. So, we imported the system library, which gave us a new random to work with, and we had to then make I made booleans for both isMapAday and isRandom. That way we could select it individually. I imagine this will become in use later when we build the AI, or not the AI, the UI. But then, so if it's the MapAday, we're doing this date to int, and then doing the date and time, or datetime.now.date, so that would be today's date, into an integer, and then if it's random, we're taking datetime.now into date to int. And so what this is going to do, and the difference between the two, is this one goes down to the millisecond to give us a different integer each millisecond, whereas this one is only using month, day, and year to get us a random number. And so this random number in its state is going to set our random number, and then any instance of random, to be the integer that comes out of this date to int function, which returns all the useful data from the datetime.now functionality. And then if we have a map seed, then it will choose that if the other two are not selected. Although I might change that around so that it's else if not is random, then do map seed, and then do else is MapAday is equal to false. Yeah, I might change that, but we'll see. If instance, and then this is what makes sure that we don't destroy our game manager. We have a list of players and controllers. This is, or the controllers one is so that I can run the spawn AI off of a for loop, because I have it running off of the controllers. Wait, why do I don't even know if I need that anymore. So they've changed it even from that. Now, the only thing that I'm seeing that I did a little bit differently is the AIs themselves are no longer being passed waypoints from their spawn point. Instead, they're generating their own waypoints from spawn. So if I go to the AI controller script, which I apparently don't already have open. There we go. Okay, so I have a function down here called create guard transforms, and it's actually a list. And basically, what this does is it takes in the spawn of the player or of the pawn and builds the waypoints off of that. I figured that since we were trying to keep this as modular as possible, it would be a good idea to have the AIs build their own waypoints based off of a given radius and amount of waypoints. So I did make that available to the designers. As you saw, the power-ups do spawn and respawn after a time that is adjustable. If we go to the prefabs, pickup, we can change that here. Duration is permanent, fire rate. We can even change the rotator speed. And then it looks like the last thing that I need to show off is the pickup code itself between the pickup. That's the pickup spawner. This is what controls the spawning speed of our pickup. Rotator AI spawner. Here's a power up. And it just has the abstract classes or abstract methods of apply and remove. Here's our take damage and heal on our health function, but those aren't the pickup scripts. This is the fire rate pickup script. Okay. Fire rate pickup, power up. Doesn't really have too much going on in the start and update. In fact, I believe I can actually just remove that. Public void on trigger enter on enter is going to add the power up, and then it's going to increase our fire rate. And then after the fire rate after the timer on the fire rate has expired, then it will be removed. And I believe that fulfills the assignment.